Hey, what's up, guys? Houston here. Look, if you an entrepreneur or a brand new LLC, a brand new startup, and you're trying to get business credit funding, you have to understand there's four levels of business credit funding. There's tiers, okay? Now, I'm not talking about in terms of like Granger, Seton, Uline. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the banking tiers for funding. So what I mean is that, like, on the four tiers, the first tier is your national banks. So that's like Wells Fargo, American Express, Bank of America, Chase Bank. Okay, so that's on the national level. Then the next level is your tier two banks. Okay, so your tier two banks are your regional banks. Now, with your regional banks, you're talking about like BMO, Truist, PNC Bank, Huntington Bank, okay? And then on the third level is your credit unions, okay? Now, most people know about Navy Federal. They know about, I always talk about them, Baxter Credit, BCU, Baxter Credit Union, okay? RB Randolph Brooks Federal Credit Union, okay? So you have those three, and then the fourth one, you're talking about like your high-risk lenders and stuff like your Blue Vine, One Debt. Those are your high-risk type of lenders, Lendio and stuff like that. So those are the ones that charge astronomical interest rates and stuff like that, right? Especially when you have bad credit. Well, I'm going to tell you this. For these banks I'm going to show you, I would definitely tell you should be working with at least a 680 or higher. Out of all transparency, okay? That way it'll be much easier, and we're going to talk about which tier should you start out with as a new LLC or as just a brand new startup. Now, my thing is I always tell you to go for the low-hanging fruit, right? And so with the lowest hanging fruit, especially who they're pulling from, looking at your credit scores and stuff, the first one that I would be looking at is possibly Veridian Credit Union. Now, Veridian Credit Union, again, they are a nationwide, all right? But the good thing about it, they use a Vantage score, okay? As a matter of fact, with Veridian Credit Union, they're using a TransUnion Vantage 3 score, all right? Now, for some of you all may not know where you even see that score. When you pull your Credit Karma, that's your Vantage 3 score, okay? So when you pull Credit Karma, that's your Vantage 3 score. Now, I have a few data points in terms of what it is that they're looking for. The way to join is through the Habitat of Humanity, okay? Now, here's the interesting thing about it. With Veridian, they actually do a live chat with you. That's right. They want to do a live chat with you. Now, in terms of proof of income, they may not look at your check system, but they want to see W-2s, they want to see pay stubs, okay? So that's in terms of the data points with Veridian. Now, the next one is RB, all right? Now, in terms of Veridian, we were just looking at the business credit card. Now, with Randolph Brooks Federal Credit Union, they offer a business credit card as well, which is here. Now, here's the thing about it with Randolph Brooks that you all should know. They use a Vantage 4. They use a Vantage 4 credit score, and they pull experience, okay? They're very easy to join and everything, but they do use a Vantage 4 scoring system. So that way you'll know that, okay, when I go here, they're going to use my experience, my Vantage score, all right? Now, again, this is for people that are trying to get business credit funding. Like I said, you have to have at least a 680 or higher to actually go with them. And the reason that you want to go with them is because with your tier 2 and 3, those are the ones that's going to give you the most funding for a new business right up front. Okay? Because when you're trying to go for like your tier 1, which is your major banks like Chase and Citibank and stuff like that, because you don't have that strong relationship with them and they're very hard with a FICO 8 score, they don't have that flexibility, okay? And there's one other credit union, and this is BCU, Baxter Credit Union. Now with Baxter Credit Union, they offer business lines of credit as well as credit cards as well for the business. All right. Now it's a Vantage 3 score as well. Now the interesting thing about Baxter Credit Union, you can have high inquiry. Okay, so they're not inquiry sensitive. So, which is great for a lot of people. Now, the way to actually join them is through the Life Money U program. All right, it's $5, but when you join through them, they'll actually waive it. All right, but it's the Life Money U program. All right, now again, and they're not restricted on the regions or whatever, but you definitely will have an opportunity to join these institutions. All right. That's one thing about it. Now, the reason that I would tell you to start with these here institutions, the reason why you want to start with these institutions is because I always tell you with your Vantage scoring and your FICO 9 scoring, you can add authorized users. You can add rental payments. You can add subscriptions to help beef up your Vantage score and your FICO 9 scoring. That's the reason why you want to start on this end of the spectrum, which is your tier 3, before you even go to your tier 2. You know, some people may jump into the tier 2, but I would try to go with your tier 3 and then go to tier 2. All right. Now, in terms of speaking of a FICO 9 scoring, that one would be like with Navy Federal. Okay, so with your Navy Federal business credit cards, all right, they also give you a business line of credit. Now, here's the thing about it. I keep telling you guys, your business NAICS code will determine whether they're going to even open up an account for you. So many of you all know that there's a revolving door with Navy Federal in terms of how you qualify, okay, military, or if you stay with somebody that's part of Navy Federal, okay, and you share the same address, that's a way for you to join as well, okay? Now, here's the thing about it. There are access numbers that you can buy on the web, and I tell you guys, please stay away from that. The reason is because if you buy that number, you open up the accounts and stuff and use those accounts, they can get you for fraud. So you don't want to do that. So please be careful with this, all right? Now, that being said, let's move on. Let's talk about these regional banks, all right? Now, the first regional bank is PNC, okay? Now, again, we're talking about startup LLCs, okay? Even DBAs. Like I said, if you're a DBA, but again, making sure that you have a strong 680 or higher credit score in order to do this, all right? Now, PNC, they're very good. They're very good. They pull Experian, and they have great products. Now, the credit card I always tell you guys to go after is make sure that you go after a credit card that offers 0% on balance transfers as well as purchases. This is the credit card you want. See, it's 13 rolling cycles with no interest. That's the credit card you want to go after, all right? Now, some people like the points or whatever, but I'm into saving money. So I want to spend dollar for dollar, and in the case I have to liquidate. Now, the good thing about all of these institutions I'm telling you about, they do not report your business accounts to the personal side. That's another good thing about it. Once you open up these business accounts, all right, and you utilize them, say that you max them out, they will not report it to the personal side unless you default. Okay, so unless you default, that's when things get messy. All right. Now, again, PNC, unfortunately, it is Experian FICO 9. Okay, that's the good thing about this as well. Now, moving along, let's talk about Truist. Truist business credit cards, okay? And you can do a pre-qualification as you can see here. And again, they have a business credit card, 0% interest on purchases for 12 months, okay? So that's the type of credit card you want. Something you're able to easily liquidate, all right? So you can take advantage of it, all right? They do have another one for 9 months on purchases as well. So these are the truest. Now with truest, it's Equifax, and it is a FICO 8. Okay, it's Equifax and FICO 8. Now again, with these regional, they would do a registered agent. If they're not in that regional area, they would do a registered agent to set up a business there so they can apply for these credit cards. There's nothing wrong with it. Again, just keep in mind, when you set up these corporations in these states that you're not actually in, you still have to file taxes with them. Even if it's in a state where they actually don't charge state taxes, you still have to file to stay in compliant, okay? So just keep that in mind, all right? Now, here's one that's really finna shake up the industry, all right? Because of that merger that they just did. This is BMO, okay? BMO Harris. Now, the reason they're finna shake up the industry, not only because of the merger, but what happened is look at their credit card. 0% interest on purchases, 15 months. On balance transfers, 15 months. This is the type of credit card you want. This is the type of credit card that's going to get you ahead of the game where you're able to liquidate, especially if you're trying to get into the real estate game. Okay? If you're trying to get into the real estate game, this is the type of credit cards you want. So that's on the personal side. Now, with BMO Harris, they're TransUnion. They're TransUnion hard pull FICO 8. That's the thing about it. You just have to remember, it is a FICO 8 scoring system. That's the reason I told you guys to make sure that you're starting out with a 680 credit score or higher. Because I know sometimes when I'm telling you things, I forget to mention, hey, now the good thing about it, they do offer their business credit cards 0% interest on purchases, okay, and balance transfers for 9 months. Again, free money to borrow. Free money to borrow, so to give you some leverage. If you're trying to start a store, if you're trying to, again, get into real estate, you're doing a fix and flip or something like that, this is exactly what you're trying to go for. Look at those type of cards, all right? This is very important. Let's see what else that they have on there. That's a business platinum rewards, and then they have this here one. So this one's 18 months. 18 months. Where are you going to go other than U.S. Bank? Now, U.S. Bank is a tier 1 funding system. So you want to stay away from U.S. Bank. Go with the regional. And this is about the closest regional I see other than Elon Financial. Okay, so Elon Financial, they will give you 18 months all day long. Okay, on their business credit cards. But this is great here for 18 months. 0% interest on purchases and balance transfers. This is that money, and hopefully they actually will give you, sometimes they will actually give you checks so you can transfer the balance from the credit card over into your checking account. All right? If they can't do it, there are other ways for you to liquidate the credit. Let's talk about Regions Bank. Now here's the situation with Regions Bank. Regions Bank is TransUnion, FICO 8 as well. Okay, and so as you can see here, these are their credit cards here, business credit card. And again, like I said, even if you're brand new to business credit, you just started your LLC, this is the reason, like I said, it's not necessary to go get a chef corp. It's not even necessary. A lot of people get caught up on this 2 years and stuff. The main reason for that 2 years, 18 months to 2 years, I should say. I have a video that's actually go more detailed about it. It's because of the loans. That's the reason I tell people, stay away from the loans. Stay away from the loans. Because again, you do not want to get that wasted hard inquiry, okay? There's too much red tape for the banks and stuff like that. So that's the reason I tell you guys, stay away from the loans. Now this is, again, with Regions Bank. All right, and again, TransUnion, FICO 8. Now, the last institution is Huntington Bank. Now, Huntington Bank, here's the catch with them. They pull Equifax, but they use a mortgage scoring system. I'm like, wait a minute, a mortgage scoring system? Most people aren't even familiar with this. That's right. They have a mortgage scoring system to determine if they're going to give you funding or not. All right. So their mortgage scoring system is 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, with the mortgage scores. But at the same time, again, like I told you, out of all transparency, you have to have at least a 680. But the reason that you want to start with these institutions, because they're regional and local with your credit unions and stuff, they will start you out with higher limits than with your tier 1. Okay, and so this is why it'd be much easier. Say that you're trying to raise $50,000 or $100,000. These are the steps you want to take. Now, again, if you have any other questions about business credit funding, personal credit funding, removing negative items off of the credit, there's also some paperwork, guys, that I would definitely tell you that you should not leave out, because with some of these institutions, granted, a lot of these regional banks, they may go off of stated income. However, you should have that paperwork as backup to show proof that, hey, my company is active, my company is paying me. And for those type of situations, if you have questions, definitely schedule a one-on-one consultation so I can tell you exactly what is that paperwork you should be using in order to get access to more business credit funding. All right. Now, if you have any other questions, once again, click the link in the description. Schedule a one-on-one consultation. Thank you.